Chapter 2: The Pursuit of Unhappiness. Happiness is a trap, and society begins preparing you for it early. This myth of perfect happiness stems from the stories told to us in childhood. We relate to these stories because, for many of us, they symbolize the dream we strive for in our lives, a world free of misery, pain, and fear. But unfortunately, the problem with this idealized state is that the more we pursue it, the more miserable and dissatisfied we become. The generalized form of plastic happiness that we experience every day is an American invention. Russians believed a person who smiles a lot is either an American or a fool. Before the 18th century, almost all cultures encouraged their populations to maintain a melancholic demeanor, and public smiling or another expression of joy was not usual. This doesn't mean that people were actually unhappy. On the contrary, expression of happiness and the pursuit of happiness was non-existent in society. At the very least, a dramatic transition happened in the Western society some 250 years ago. The beginning of the rise of happiness may be traced back to the United States Declaration of Independence, which stated that all men have a right to the pursuit of happiness. In a few decades, the smiling American man became a universal caricature throughout the world. This changed a lot in the 1800s, when Alexander Pope said, "O happiness, our being's end and aim." Once the idea gained momentum, people started writing about their desire to be happy. It was now okay to look for happiness. From the 1920s onwards, there was yet another boom. Tremendous literature arose that emphasized the significance of happiness, human responsibility for achieving happiness, and the solutions accessible to mankind. New norms of conduct for white-collar workers and salesmen emphasized the importance of a happy demeanor. It gave birth to new commercial enterprises like the Walt Disney Company, whose corporate motto became "Make people happy," and whose staff persuaded consumers that they were already happy solely because they were in a Disney environment. It also led to new standards for public posing, with smiles all around, whether at family outings or in politicians' mugshots. There was a progressive growth in dentists during this time when individuals were more inclined to smile. It could be possible that the hesitant smile of a Mona Lisa reflected discomfort about dental damage. The song "Happy Birthday" was composed in 1926, perhaps due to the gloomy atmosphere of the Great Depression, and by the late 1930s it had become a household tradition. After the Great Depression, consumerism was a significant theme. Advertisers of all kinds recognized the power of connecting products with happiness. This is the most compelling reason why the mid-20th century happiness culture has endured, especially today. Now, even the Russians, Germans, and Japanese have also started smiling. The smiley face was invented in 1963, and by the end of the decade, annual licensing costs had surpassed $50 million. In 1977, McDonald's launched the Happy Meal, which is still used today. The happiness we are experiencing is a contemporary product rather than an inherent element of the human mind. If happiness is an inborn attribute, so telling someone to be happy is like telling them to grow taller. There's a huge industry built on this thirst for happiness. Countless self-help coaches and publications claim to hold the key to eternal happiness. The pursuit of happiness appears to be one of the most significant aspects of our life today. Some countries are calculating their gross national happiness index now. There are several programs all over the internet aiming to restore happiness in just 5 days. However, a 5-day happiness program is far-fetched. As soon as you receive your happiness certificate, someone will do or say something that will evoke a different emotion within you, and your happiness will vanish. The happiness these days can also be downloaded from the internet through a 10-step method, and there are countless apps on the App Store devoted just to enhancing happiness. All of this is telling us that we need to be happy, but unfortunately, they're also attempting to convince you that happiness is a destination, which it isn't. Happiness is an emotion that plays a minor role in our lives. Sadness, optimism, negativity, pride, jealousy, rage, serenity, and thankfulness are also present. All these feelings are a part of who we are. However, none of them is a destination.